Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis, with my lovely co-host, Michelle. How are you doing today, Michelle?
I'm doing great. What a great day in the challenge world.
I know. Well, it's like we started doing Road Rules because we didn't know when challenge season 36 was going to start. And this week we got news of the official start date. How excited are you about that?
I'm so pumped. I was hoping secretly that they would launch it in December, but I really was like, oh, that's too quick of a turnaround. There's no way. And we've already got a trailer. We got a lot more little nuggets of information into what the actual premise of the Double Agents twist means. I think I've watched it a couple times, and yeah, like it's just that excitement, and it looks from the trailer at least that like the challenges look really fun, like and really like extreme and dangerous, and yeah, I'm just overall like so pumped to have something to look forward to for the holidays.
It's so perfectly timed. Well, if this is your first time on Reality Realness, well, then welcome. If you've been here before, well, welcome back. We're all about reality TV and all the gossip that goes on with it. So please make sure you subscribe right down over there if you haven't done so already. So I know we want to talk about the challenge season 36, but we still have to kind of tie a little bow on Road Rules season 1. And we are kind of learning that this is like the inception of the challenge. And so I'm kind of seeing like, oh, they do this now all the time and they do that now all the time because of the fact that they started here with Road Rules. So we're on episode 10. We're going to basically take you through the rest of the season as fast as we can. They're pretty good, like 20-minute episodes. Episode 10, though. So they're in Nashville. It was Indiana. We're like, they're Nashville somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere. Nashville, Indiana. Everybody's out of money. And they have to go find Marshall Sanders. And they have to be a cop for the day. I thought that this was an interesting challenge for these people to be doing. Because I thought that you're not allowed to wear a cop's uniform if you're not a cop or gone through like the oath and the vows and all that stuff. Because it's, I don't know. Like, I thought that there was like a law or a rule against that.
Yeah, honestly, I think the whole thing was just a troll. Like, yeah, we're gonna like put you in cop outfits right away and just like put you like let you make these decisions and stuff. Like, I don't know. It was so random, and it was very like of that time. Like that would never happen now. Of
like
course.
The fact that like they're letting Kit go and talk to people that they pulled over on the side of the road and like talking about like, oh, we're going to give you a warning this time. Like it was shocking.
It was really shocking. Yeah.
Almost as shocking as like having them traffic direct for what was it, an Easter egg hunt? Like what?
That was weird. That was very weird. Yeah, I think the coolest thing that came out of this whole cop moment episode is just everything with Carlos. Like that was definitely interesting, especially since we got to see the prelude, which is him getting stopped by the cops when he's driving and being accused of having weed in the car and all that, and him being so frustrated. And then he gets to be a cop for this day and is presented with like this decision of, oh, this person should be getting a ticket for this reason. They're parked the wrong way. He gives a ticket. The person comes back to argue against it. And the cops let Carlos decide whether he's going to give the person a warning or not. And he has this whole dilemma about it. And just, and then he does make that realization that he's not going to do what has been done to him. And he chooses to give the guy a warning, which was unexpected. And from my perspective, felt unexpected and also just like a really good moment of growth. I feel like this chunk of episodes and leading towards the end, there's ups and downs, but I feel like there's a lot of growth, mainly in this moment, I guess.
I'm just like the suck my dick.
Yeah, no, once we get there, I full on, this is the moment, 10, this is the moment where I was coming around again with Carlos and was like seeing the other sides and seeing the struggles he's been through and seeing how he's changing. And then by the time we get to that episode in a couple episodes from now, I went right back around to hating him again. And being like, ah! So,
no. Oh, Lois. And I totally agree with you. I knew exactly the moment that you're talking about when you're saying like, the moment of the episode, we'll say. Because like I did like seeing that he had to think about that, because most people would just be like, screw him. They screw us all the time. Like, let's like, or want to take, whenever I think of cops, I always think it's people that have been maybe bullied or something in high school that's trying to get their revenge on all the people that were cool or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I've always had that kind of mentality. I'm not saying it's true, but like, it's just a thought that I've always had about particular people that become police officers. And so I thought that Lowe's was going to take that same stance for sure, as like, oh, I've been bullied by police officers. Now I want to bully others just to like have that sense of power. And so I was really pleased that he didn't thrive on that power and to be able to like do unto others, or, in a way that was negatively done unto him. So I definitely felt that there was growth there. I was 100% surprised that he didn't, because it didn't even matter. It was a $10 ticket. Like he was like, sorry, man, like rules are rules. Like he could have just easily said like that without even being a jerk about it. But the fact that he didn't do that, I did see growth there in his response. So I agree. Have you been on an Easter egg hunt recently?
I've never been on an Easter egg
Never.
hunt. As a Jewish,
because they're Jewish, yeah.
No, honestly, I want to have one. Like maybe this, like next year's the year. Like I love the idea of it. I love chocolate and candy, and I love cream eggs. They're like one of my favorite treats. And I want to go on an Easter egg hunt for sure.
It's actually really fun to like go look for them and like try to find like where they're all hidden. It's like so cute. You're like, oh, they're in like that little nook. And like, you know what I mean? You find a little egg somewhere. Like it's actually really fun. And obviously it makes sense because it's a very Christian or Catholic, I guess, holiday. But I just never even really thought that you had said no, but I forgot that, yeah, you should be forgot.
I wish we had something equivalent, but during Easter we're having like, we can't even eat anything leavened. We're eating like matzah. Find the matzah. We do have a find the matzah thing that happens.
Ooh.
You get like you're supposed to get like money or a treat if you like find it. It's like for the kids to do. It's called the afikomen. So you like find the afikomen after dinner or whatever.
I never participated in this. I've been to many a dinner.
It's supposed to be, yeah. I mean, mainly like when I was a kid, we did it more.
Fair.
And me and all my cousins, and we'd like my grandpa would give us like a $5 bill, and I'd be like, "Ooh!"
When you eat the eggs and the salt of the tears and that same like
same whole thing, yeah. The like salty tears, the wine of the like
from
boom.
Yeah, okay, I've been to many of those. I want to find the money.
Yeah, honestly, you should tell the next time when you go to one, just be like, okay, are we going to hide the afikomen though? Like, you need to hide it. Even if there's no children around, like you need this. We need this.
So fun. Like I've always thought that I was going to marry Jewish and then I would convert. So maybe it's just like something that will happen.
Really interesting.
I love it. It's always my thought. I don't know. It hasn't happened yet, but I just always thought that.
That's so funny. I mean, hey, I'd be down if it happens. Like either way, that's exciting. Join the crew,
right? I need to be the crew. It's been my life. So,
oh my god.
I don't know if I told you this, but Phil and I were talking when we were doing Amazing Race, and we were kind of like being like, "Oh, do you like roller coasters and rides and stuff?" Wait, you don't like roller coasters, do you?
No, terrified.
Right. Well, you're going to be a little Debbie Downer about this idea that we have, but we're thinking of having like maybe an entry, whatever, $20 or something, and go to Canada's Wonderland and do like a scavenger hunt type, like Amazing Race at Canada's Wonderland game that people can go pay and to play. And so like maybe you have to get your card stamped on this particular ride, or you know what I mean, like have different tasks to do at Canada's Wonderland, and the first person that completes the whole thing will win a prize or something like that.
Ooh.
And so we were thinking about it. I'm like, that would be something that I would die to do. Like, it's so.
I will say I do love like amusement parks. I love cotton candy and eating food, and I love like just like the colors and looking at everything. So I'm definitely down to like be there and help.
Well, but what could happen though? Maybe we'll make everybody do it in pairs or something, and so maybe your pair has to go and do something, or like maybe like one of you has to do this or that. You know what I mean? Like kind of like Amazing Race has like.
I can do a water park. Oh, nowadays a water park seems like, but I do normally like water slides. They scare me less, which is weird because I feel like they're way more unsafe. But for some reason, I feel less scared on a water slide.
I think it's probably this. I feel like you probably feel like you're more in control in a water slide because at least you have your own limbs free. But like if he goes off the track or whatever, you're scared of. Like you can't really control that at all, or if it crashes or something.
I'm more scared of falling out of the the thing.
Really?
One time I was going on the Bat, my first upside down or whatever roller coaster, and I was with my friend Tanya. You know Tanya, and she loves roller coasters and I hate them. So we're sitting in it and I'm like already like hyperventilating. And we put our things in, and right before it's about to start, Tanya's like comes loose. And so she's like, oh, we need to get fixed. And I start screaming like, are they so close? Are they so close? And then they come and fix it right before we go. So already I'm like, I'm going to die on this. And you know how it like slowly goes up and then you're like hanging and then it counts down and it like drops or whatever and goes through the loops. So it's like waiting at the top and I literally start crying and I'm like, trying to get me off, like I can't do this. And she's just laughing her ass off at me, laughing so hard. I'm like crying as it's like counting 5 and I'm like, oh my God. And as I'm doing the whole loop, I just piercingly scream like, I have never freaked out like that in my life. I had never been on a roller coaster. And I was like 20 and I'd never been on an upside down like I was terrified. And I got off that ride. She's like, you did it. Isn't it so fun? I was like, no, I am never doing that again.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry that you were traumatized because I mean, I've been going on rides since I was a kid. So like Ghost Coaster when I was 2, like I was, or whatever, the youngest age I can go on it. But like, I've been going to Wonderland since the year it opened. And I used to go every single year at least once. And I had a season pass through my entire high school life and middle school life. So like, I always just like went to Wonderland and like, I knew all the rides. I knew all like the, you know what I mean? Like I've been on them so many times that they don't scare me. I just find them completely fun. So I can imagine maybe never trying it before. Like, and you also don't drive as well. So you don't, I think that you guys might be scared of like the unknown of being in this like, this thing that's like so dangerous, but like you're not fully familiar with it. So yes. I really wish though that you were, because like I love rides so much.
Like, I'm not a thrill seeker in that way. Yeah.
You're like, not at all. What way are you a thrill seeker?
Am I a thrill seeker? I seek thrills on stage. I seek thrills like doing things performatively that scare me and putting myself out there in creatively or as an artist. To me, that's like a thrill. Like audition thrill when it's like not like these, you know, like a real audition thrill and like that kind of stuff, I would say. Whereas I'm terrified of heights. I've been in multiple car accidents, so I'm terrified of like driving fast. I'm terrified of, you know, I have a lot of fears of that. But even before all that happened, I was always scared of roller coasters. I just don't like being like thinking that like I'm going to fall to my death and it's supposed to be fun. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand that.
I guess so the difference is that I don't have that thought. I don't think that I'm going to die.
Right. Okay.
Like, I just think I'm going to get butterflies and it's going to be like, ah!
I will say I have been ziplining in Newfoundland because everyone was doing it. And I was the only person that I was like, okay, I have to do it. Everyone's doing it. And I cried and I was terrified. But because it wasn't a drop, like, you know, you're going straight, it was super high and scary and terrifying, but it was a thrill. You're right. Like, once I got over the like, oh my God, I'm not falling, but I'm like in the air, like, it did become beautiful and I liked being around nature and it was really exciting. So like I did get it, but even to do that once, like if you were like, let's go ziplining again, I'd probably have the same fears again that I'd have to like really be like, you're fine, you did it. Like, you know.
Interesting. Because like no judgment. Like I just didn't expect you to not, like be scared of these things. It doesn't, it's not part of like my vision of you to not like roller coasters. I feel like you would like them.
That's so funny. Okay, I will say what I do like is like as a kid, I loved the like scrambler the like twisty, windy ones that are spinny, or the one where you stand against the wall and you kind of float and it like spins. Like I loved that kind of stuff. I just didn't want stuff with high drops or upside down.
I've actually been stuck halfway on a hoop before for like a long time. You'd have been scared. People like were losing like their hats, and you could see like change falling because we're like kind of halfway up.
Like that's not what? No. No. I don't know how gravity works. Like no.
It was scary. I didn't feel like I was gonna die.
Right.
Like it was more like, ooh, I can't wait to tell people that I was stuck on a loop.
Like I'm the kind of person where when I get stuck at the top of a Ferris wheel, I start to panic. Or if I'm in a Ferris wheel with someone who starts swinging, and people do it to me all the time. Let me tell you, all the time.
It's like I'm living for this. I've actually been on a Ferris wheel recently. When I was in Portugal, me and my friend Nicole, we went on a Ferris wheel at night, and we were just doing a photo shoot the whole time. Like we're like, okay, how do I go the picture of here? We're just like hanging out in this Ferris wheel, like taking photos because it had like it was just like beautiful like night sky and whatever. Like I'll show you that. Actually, maybe I'll find them while we're chatting. But yeah, I don't know. I love all these things. It's so funny, and I feel like reason why I like these things is because my Venus. So things that I take pleasure in is in Sagittarius. And so for adventure, doing things differently, freedom feeling. And so that's probably also why I pegged you to maybe be liking that kind of freedom kind of things would be because you're Sagittarius. And that's why I thought that I liked it, but maybe there's other reasons why I like that stuff.
Well, let me see. Well, okay, wait, you said it's your Venus?
Yeah.
My Venus is in Capricorn.
Oh, okay. So you want things to be grounded and stable.
and listen, do you want to know what else? I just pulled up my chart. Do you know what else I have in Capricorn? What? Mercury, Venus, Uranus, Neptune, and Saturn.
Okay. Whoa.
That's a lot.
Say them all again.
Mercury, Venus, Uranus, Neptune, and Saturn.
That makes you very practical, for sure. You feel comfort in practicality.
Yeah, so it's like I've got that, but then I have Moon and Sun in Sagittarius.
Okay, so that's probably why you like performing and stuff like that. You know, you like expressing your emotions in ways that excites you. But when it comes to things that are less practical, you're like, no. Let's stay on the ground here. We want to be grounded.
Right? And my Jupiter is in Leo, so I think that has to do with performing too, right?
My Jupiter's in Leo too.
Oh, yay! Okay, amazing.
And my Mercury's in Capricorn, so that's probably why we vibe.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
And also air and fire work well together.
Ah.
Wow. I mean, I told you about how the elements kind of work together.
Yes, I actually been thinking a lot about that.
It helps you really see how you get along with people, and like you're like, oh, this person is sensitive when I say things like this, because sometimes Sagittarius are very blunt in their words, and like if you say that to maybe a Cancer, like they might get offended by it, you know. But you're just like, oh, like I'm just like saying the truth, and they're just like, oh, why is she being so mean? You're like, I'm not being mean. Like, what are you talking about? And you know what I mean? It just doesn't.
You're literally describing my life. Like you're describing my life, Chantele. Like literally every day, like at work, like I'm just like people like, oh wow, like I love you have such attitude with this person. And I'm like, no, I literally just said this is the fact. Like this is how. What do you mean? I'm just being clear.
I get you, man. I get you. You never offend me, girl.
Good.
Some people are very soft. Well, and it's because of their signs.
Yeah,
definitely influence. Okay, so what happened next? Okay, they didn't have the ticket, whatever. Oh, they got to free food. I did want to also ask you what your thoughts on was about hot sauce.
If I like hot sauce?
Yeah, like are you a hot sauce yes or hot sauce never?
Not never. I actually don't mind hot sauce. But I'm not the person that's like, oh, I need hot sauce. I would never ask for it, but if it was there, I'd probably use a bit of it.
Okay. I'm just curious because there's when I always get shocked as well when people don't like hot sauce. And I'm just like, wait, what? Like I literally put hot sauce on every single thing that I eat. whether it's my eggs, whether it's my pasta, like if it's like, especially if I'm at home, maybe not if I'm at a restaurant, I might not put hot sauce on my pasta, but like at home, like I like the heat and the flavor of any hot sauce on my food.
Yeah, I'm not like that. I'm more of like a, give me like a spicy mayo, like give me like a pesto, whatever. Like I love dips, I love sauces, but yeah, I'm not opposed to a hot sauce. I just don't need it. Like I'm like one of my sisters puts like hot sauce on her pizza and everything.
Yes.
It's like, why would, and she's like, same as you. Why would you not have hot sauce? Like just add the hot sauce.
So true. No, at least you're not opposed to it. Not that I would care if you were, whatever. But like, I was quite surprised when people are like, yeah, I never use hot sauce. I'm like, sorry. Like, it's actually like, it's a staple in my, like sriracha is a staple in my house. You know what I mean? And like at my mom, it's like she has like 10 different hot sauces, you know? So I was curious about how you're feeling there. So what else happened next? So, okay, where did they get their clue from this time around?
The cop just gives it to them, doesn't he?
Maybe. Because I just wrote Shelley finds a clue. Oh, in the police car. Correct. Yeah. And they're going to go and see Van Halen, R.I.P. Isn't that kind of crazy serendipitous that, like, we're watching this season and, like, this is the year that he passed?
That is weird. I actually didn't even realize that.
Right? Like, he just passed in October.
Oh, right.
Anyway, I just thought it was just shocking because I was like, wow, like I just remember like being like, oh, like Van Halen, like I don't know his music that well, but like he's a name that I've grown up with hearing who they were. And so I saw this and I'm like, wow, like out of all the seasons to be watching, it's like the season to be watching that has his, you know, his stint on The Real World. It's so random.
It is very random. But yes, this episode, the whole Van Halen thing, this was also a really great moment in the show, I thought.
It was good. It was definitely really good.
It was like, again, I think this is the chunk, because this is the chunk I was watching where I was like, ooh, like people, they're growing, you know, because it was like this happened with Carlos, whatever. Then with Shelley, like obviously she's obsessed with this band. She's obsessed with this type of music. She connects so much with music. She like has all her laminated tickets of all the concerts.
Wait, yeah, I want to ask you about that. Did she bring her ticket stub book like with her on this trip? Like that was something that she had to carry along with her. That's like me bringing my sticker book. Like what? Like what?
I'm obsessed. I don't know. Yes, like what a choice. But she's like, I need to just like look and be able to show people all the concerts I went to. It's a very young thing, and I love it. And like. So she gets so amped and it's like, they don't know what they're going to do. It just says like, you're opening for them. So they kind of start to deduce that it's probably going to be like actually setting up the
roadie type stuff.
The roadie type stuff. And they built the fucking stadium from nothing. And man, it looked like a lot of work. And Shelley was living.
She was living for it. Absolutely. And like, he was just talking about music and talking about tattoos and just like, she definitely was in her element. Like nothing could get her down. And like, I actually wonder if she followed through with like maybe becoming a roadie for different bands or whatnot after that, because she did mention that it really piqued her interest in an area that she never thought about before. And like, I would think that would be a great job for her to have. Like she get to see different bands, like, or she goes on tour with one particular band, definitely like get her fix. Like, I don't know. I thought that would be a really great job for her.
Really great. And like, yeah, it opened a new door for her. It was really cool. And she got to like stay on the stage. I feel like it was a really awesome experience. And she ended up working hard. Like she just impresses me episode to episode, her ability to not freak out too much, because she started to realize that like even with all the low stuff, which obviously we'll get into later, but it's like she is able to keep the peace within herself and be like, I know I'm a hard worker. I know I'm a good person. And I know these people are going to see what they're going to see and judge. And I've been judged forever. And I'm just going to do me. Like, I really like respect her a lot. Probably the most out of everybody there. Like,
yeah.
I just
He's the youngest as well, which I think is pretty impressive. She holds herself really well, and she's quite good at understanding perspective, even though she's like a few years, like 4 or 5 years younger than everybody. So I think that I definitely really like Shelley. I like all the characters, even my dislike for Los. I like him a lot more than a lot of characters that I've seen on my TV screen. So
yeah.
Did you notice though, but right before they leave to go to see Van Halen, like Los was really happy and enjoyed his experience as the cop, and he kind of was about to put his arm around Allison, and then he like takes that back. Like, do you think that was him taking his arm back, or do you think that he did want, like, which was it intentional that he wanted to like give her a psych, or did he want to do that and then stopped himself?
Second, I think he wanted to do it and stopped himself.
Yeah, me too.
And it's just such a prelude. It's so weird because we know at the beginning of this whole thing, he tried to kiss Shelley one night. She rejected him. He started treating her like trash. She started freaking out at first. Then she started just not reacting to him. He moved along. Now he's being so rude to Allison, and she tries to hug him. She tries to be nice. She tries to whatever, but he knows he can get a rise out of her, and he keeps doing it. And it just keeps getting worse and worse. And like, it's obviously because he wants her. I think he definitely wants to bang her for sure. I think that he doesn't understand how to like, process it. Because even in his interviews, like he'll be talking and being like, yeah, like, I don't know why, like I pick on Allison, but like, it's just, like he has no real reasoning behind anything.
Absolutely. And so before they get to like wherever Van Halen was going to be, they wanted to stay somewhere and like go out for the night, and they're trying to convince Los to get a hotel room with them so like Allison can like shower and change. And so it's kind of like he wanted to stop them from showering and changing because they're saying like, oh, she wants to go get some like a booty call or like meet somebody and make out with them. And so I think that he was also kind of putting his foot down like, oh, I don't want us to get all showered and gussied up because like I don't want to see Allison maybe interacting in a way that I would like to be interacting with her with somebody else at a random club. So I definitely am thinking that he is jealous of her, like kind of like in grade 3 when you hit the girl that you like, whatever. But I also think that he likes the negative attention because I think that he has such low self-esteem that he feels that at least if they're talking about me negatively, they're talking about me. I'd rather them dislike me when I choose for them to dislike me than for them actually to like not like me for me being myself. And so I think that that's why he's putting on this asshole persona, is so that he can dictate who likes him and who doesn't, and not leave it to them making their own decisions about him and maybe him being hurt. That's what I think.
I agree 1,000%.
Poor guy though. Like he needs, hopefully he's like grown since then, because I think it just shows that he's really sad and actually probably quite lonely,
Yeah, I agree.
Poor guy. So when though they're staying in the hotel room and he's on the Winnie, he didn't go and stay in the hotel room. He shaves his head, and I gotta say, I think he looks very cute with his shaved head. I was like,
yeah, it was definitely an improvement and definitely a way for him to, again, try to get attention somehow. Like he's screaming for someone to give, but then anytime anyone gives him attention, he can just decide to be like, no, like, and be so rude. Like it's bizarre, but yeah, I thought it was an upgrade.
It was an upgrade for sure. I was like, you're kind of attractive now. I didn't think of him as that good looking before. And did you notice when Allison just goes to like touch his head and he's like, yeah, and he like moves his head away so she's not able to even rub his head. And people that shave their head love it when people rub their head. Like I've never met anybody with a shaved head. Not a random stranger, but like somebody that you're close with, like touching their head. It feels good. People don't usually touch your head, so it's like it's really tingly and it's like sensations. And so the fact that he was like, no, like I was just like, you're such a brat. He's a brat. He's a brat. And like, he's letting Kit do it, and I think he wanted to make like Allison jealous that like he's letting like Kit's allowed to pet him, but you're not allowed to pet me. Like it's just so bratty.
And like he keeps being rude to her, and she keeps like giving him another chance and being nice to him again, and then it keeps getting worse and worse. It's just, ugh.
Well, at least Allison thought that he looks like an Easter egg. I was like, he did, but a cuter Easter egg than he did look like before. So they were having a little bit of penis talk at the end of this episode, and I did have to just write down what Mark Long said at the end of it, because they're talking about how he flashed Allison and Kit, and he's like, I told her to pet it, and it's going to spit on you. I was like, oh, Mark.
Yeah, classic Mark.
And then you see a little montage of him dancing. This is how we do it. I love 95 Mark.
Like, me too. I'm obsessed with him. Like,
I have a crush on him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
He's so cute. Like, he's just so, I guess I like people that are just free and real and fun and don't get offended. Like, he's just chill. And I think that's also why him and Kit get along so well, because they're both pretty much just go with the flow, chill, and aren't really complainers, or like they just make the best out of everything. And so like I think that's what I'm really liking about seeing about Mark, is that he's just a positive person, even if he's doing kind of shitty things. Like you forgive him for it because I don't know, he's just a good person to be around.
Yeah,
for the most part. So that was the end of that episode. The next episode, oh yeah, this is what I wrote down. When she brought her ticket stub collection, like WTF. They're playing cards, and I laughed so hard at this moment. So they're playing cards, and the loser had to moon the on the traffic beside them or whatever. And so Shelly, who's the least likely to moon these people, these passerbys, is the one that loses and has to move. And she does it. They kind of cover her in the front seat, and she like pulls out her pants and she moons the car that's going by. I laughed so hard. Did you find it enjoyable?
It was great. It was a great moment. I didn't think she was gonna do it, honestly. But I thought it was really funny. And like, I feel like as the episodes go on, she keeps trying to do things that are like out of her comfort zone purposely. Like she just keeps putting herself in the situation time and time again.
Love that.
Even right to the end. And it's really admirable.
Absolutely admirable. Have you ever mooned anybody?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think I have. Like maybe as a kid, but probably not.
So funny. It's something that I don't think I've ever done that. I don't know if I've ever been anywhere when anybody's done that, but it's very funny.
It is.
It's funnier than I thought it was going to be.
And it also be funny to drive by and just see a butt.
I feel like I've seen a butt though before. I don't know.
You've been mooned is what you're saying.
I think I've been mooned. I do think. It seems like it's something that's happened.
Yeah.
I can't think of a story or a scenario, but I feel like I just still feel like I've been unmooned, you know? So they go to Fort Wayne, Indiana. Get to Rita. They do all that amazing stuff. They meet the band. They're kind of one of the band guys really has a liking to Kit. They got to experience the concert. Like, yes, I think that was an all around. It was probably their most epic, I think, or most memorable part of their journey so far, because I thought it was pretty epic. Do you think anything topped that yet?
Not yet, but I think things do top it, but it was definitely very high up on the list. The last few things they get to do, minus a couple of them, are really awesome.
For sure. I mean, I would love to do all of them just because I definitely enjoy doing things that I would never do in my regular life. That's obviously why I like reality television. It's like just weird scenarios that random people are being thrown into. And so I'm pretty impressed with what they get to do. I don't remember this was happening, and except for when Kit was saying that she was going to skydive. Spoiler alert! But in like the entertainment or the extra TV clip, and so I was like, "Oh, you have to skydive! That's amazing!" But yeah, I think that it's pretty lucky what they get to do, because like, when are you going to go to like an alligator farm, or when are you going to, dog sled, and like you know what I mean? Like, there's just so many things that you would never get the chance to do that they're really lucky, in my opinion. So that's pretty much the end of the episode. Shelly got to do the sound check, which I thought she was so excited about.
Yes.
And what does it say? Get to see the concert. Yes, which is awesome. But then they get their next clue. Did Van Halen give them the clue? I don't remember what happened there. But they have to get to the.
Might have been because they did talk to Van Halen.
Mm-hmm. What happened? Oh no, maybe Patrick gave it to them. Isn't Patrick like the most typical roadie guy? Like every single tech guy looks exactly like him, down to like the ponytail with like the long blonde ponytail with the extra elastic bands. Like I just was like, is this a prototype? Is Patrick a prototype of the roadie, or like the stage manager, lighting guy for the show? Right. So they're going to go to the Speedway, and they're going to have a smashing time. What do you think? What did you think at that moment it was going to be?
When they said they're going to have a smashing time, I don't even remember. I don't remember.
I only remember because I wrote it down. But I thought they were going to be monster truck driving. That's what I thought was going to be happening.
Oh yeah, I remember just being like some sort of, or I thought maybe like a garbage demolition or something.
No matter what, kind of fun, because you never get to like damage things. I know that they have these rooms now where people, you don't watch The Bachelorette, but where you can like break and destroy a room and just like get out aggression.
Oh, I've seen those, and I would love to do that.
I think I want to do that because I've never gotten mad enough for anything where I've done something like that. Maybe I've thrown a phone, but like I wonder like what it feels like to be like like, and just like go for it. Maybe I'll do that for my birthday. Is that too weird?
Not at all. I think that's amazing. Maybe I'm gonna do that for my birthday.
Yeah, do it for your birthday, and then because I actually wanted to do a roller skating rink if it's still something you can do in 2021. And so I want to go roller skating and dress 70s. But yeah, so like do that and then invite me.
Okay.
Perfect. So that was the end of the episode. They get all the way over to Chicago, Illinois. I've never been to Chicago. Have you been?
I love Chicago. I spent about a month and a half there doing a show once, and what an amazing place to be. It's like a prettier version of Toronto. There's so much good food. There's so much good, like you can walk everywhere. It's just, there's water nearby. Like, it's just like, it's a busy city, but also like clean. I had so much deep dish pizza. Like,
okay, so how good is it? I know we have Pizza Hut. Like, and I think I've had maybe a deep dish pizza somewhere in my lifetime, but like, how is it for reals?
It honestly, like, it's just a different ballgame. It's a different ballgame because like I went to a couple of the most popular ones and they did have differences. Like the one place I went to was like so like fully a full thick pie, and like there's so much, like you eat one slice and you're so full. Like it's crazy. And then I went to another one and it was a bit smaller, which I actually kind of preferred, but it was still like this thick, and it cuts like an actual pie, and it like oozes out, but it still has like crispiness on the top. It's just like, it's so good, but I can't down a whole thing like I would a regular pizza. Like I would always have leftovers. So that's the only thing, but it's great. I ate so much food there, and it's a great city. Anyways, I was very excited for that.
Did you go to the jazz, any of the jazz in the jazz scene and the jazz clubs and stuff like that when you were there?
Well, we had shows most of the time, but there were a couple of times where we went out like afterwards and heard some live music, which was pretty sweet. I don't know if I ever found like the real, there's always like the real places.
Yeah, no, I just have heard that like, if you want to go for the jazz and blues scene down there, go to Chicago. So just curious, you being a musician or a singer, if you got a chance to see any of those like cool clubs. But it's definitely on my list of places to go in the United States. So it's kind of like I feel as though 2020 was a year that I was supposed to like, I'm going to go to Boston. I'm going to go to like Chicago. Like I'm going to try all these cities that I've never been to, especially with the airline that I worked at. It has connection with Porter. And so I was able to fly for like $75 return to any of the places that Porter flies in the United States. So I was like, I'm taking advantage of this. I've never taken advantage of these things. So like, and then like shut down March 13th. Like what? So
damn.
If I get a chance in the future. So they had driven like a couple days to get to Chicago. So Los wasn't impressed by the fact that they're going to be driving these cars. So it's going to be some sort of, not a monster truck, but it was going to be a demolition derby that they're going to be participating in. And Los didn't want to be driving anymore. Do you think that he was actually just scared? Because like, it's a very different driving experience.
Yeah, I think he was scared.
Okay.
I also think he was tired and in a bad mood. Like, I think that, you know, that part, like, I don't know if it's this episode or another episode where he talks about how, like, sometimes I'm really up and I'm like energized, and then the next minute I'm chill. Like, I feel like he has some sort of like thing. It's like sometimes he's this and sometimes he's that. And if he's that, then he's going to be in a bad mood. Like, it's just what it is. And it's almost like a switch in him that you can kind of see in his demeanor a little bit. Like, when he's in a good mood, it's such a night and day. So I feel like it was caught where he was in a bad space and he'd been driving for days. And yeah, maybe he was a little scared of like getting, like, not knowing if what it entailed, if it was going to be like getting into an accident or something.
He's going to be good at it or not. Because I don't think he'd ever want to do something and not be good in front of people. So yeah, I think it's his ego stopped him for sure. I think he allows himself to be in a bad mood to stop him from doing things that might put his ego in check. You know? That's what I think. Los. You need a little bit of therapy, but you're cute with your bald head. So Shelly and Allison go to the Hard Rock Cafe. That's probably like when it first like opened, when it was like, because now I don't.
I love how excited they were. Like, it's closed now in Toronto. I love how excited they were about like, ooh, we're gonna go to the Hard Rock, and then they're like, ooh, it's overpriced. I'm like, yeah, it is overpriced, and it's the worst. It's a Hard Rock. What do you mean? But excite, like, that's where you're gonna go in Chicago. Cool.
Well, I can understand that like Shelly was like just still feeling the vibe of Van Halen and rock concert. Like, let's go to the Hard Rock. Maybe it just had opened up in Chicago in 1995, and so, you know, I thought it was hilarious. I was like, that's like a don't go place. Like, definitely don't go to Hard Rock because you'll get terrible food and it's always full of tourists. You know, it's not going to be the cool place, but I thought it was really cute how excited they were to go there. So they were talking. So Shelly and Allison are talking about Los, and we kind of started talking about it a little bit. But Shelly was saying that she doesn't think that Los actually likes her or hates her. She actually just thinks that he's intrigued by her background and, you know, her culture and her race. Like, that's the thing he's intrigued by. And Allison is just like not liking him at all. And it kind of starts with what's going to happen next, I believe. Is that what happens next?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And so basically, like, Allison was asking Los something, and he just like wouldn't answer her, and just basically said like, "Suck my dick." And maybe he said more. Like, we never actually saw him say this. We've seen him definitely being quite rude to her, and this was, I guess, the straw that broke the camel's back here, where she just doesn't want to deal with him anymore. And so she's starting to actually vent to, obviously, Shelly, and she's also really upset that it seems that people are just allow him to get away with his antics, and it's kind of like, as long as they're not on the receiving end of it, they don't seem to care that much about Allison. How do you think about how Allison is feeling in this moment? And
I have a lot of thoughts in this moment. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I really relate to what Allison was talking about. When she was really, like, I thought quite directly explaining that, like, you know, at the beginning of this, he was treating Shelly like dirt, and she stood up for her and like said something and was real. And she's the kind of friend, the kind of person that will stand up for you if she thinks something's not right. And all of the other people, the other three of them, all recognize that he's being a douche to her, and yet no one's doing anything. And Shelly says like, "Oh, I thought you could deal with it on your own." And it's like, if someone else is there for you, like, be there for them. And I know it must be hard for Shelly in particular, because she already had animosity with him. She probably just wanted to cut it off and like whatever. But like, Mark sees it, Kit sees it, and Kit and Mark are having a fun time not caring. But it's like, this is your other friend, Allison, who's being like talked down to constantly and put down and attacked when she's literally just trying to exist. And it's like, it's riling her up, and like, no one's defending her. I just feel like I felt bad for her, and I get it. Maybe sometimes she's annoying. Like, I don't know. Or maybe like they just are like, it's not a big deal, but at that point, when she's that upset, I definitely, if I was having that convo with her, would have been like, listen, I am going to talk to him. Like, we have to be in this tiny little car together. Like, it's not okay.
Obviously, like, we're watching and we're just like, oh, we'd be able to do this and do that. So I'm going to say what I think that I would do. And I feel as though I wouldn't allow him to treat her that way. I feel like there would just been a level of respect that would have been already determined. Like, I think that they needed to have nipped it in the bud from the beginning and never have let him start treating anybody in that sort of fashion.
Yeah.
It would probably been best received if Mark had said it from the very beginning.
Yes.
Been like, hey man, like, this is a woman, like, we're on a TV show, like, we're doing these things together. Like, you can't talk to somebody like that. And have, like, you know what I mean? Like, he would listen to Mark over he would listening to any other women, I feel. And I think that if Mark had done that, he would have listened, or it might have just curbed it a little bit, just to know that Mark was, like, recognizing that what he was doing wasn't cool. Yeah, I think it's Mark who let this get out of hand, him being so like laissez-faire and blasé about the whole situation. It just made Carlos, in my opinion, feel as though it was okay how he was acting and that the girls are just being sensitive. So yeah. I wish that Mark had stood up to him, but I can also understand, okay, but we're living on an RV with this person for 6 weeks. Like, I want to keep the peace. Like, can you just ignore him? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're just trying to get through this time together. Just ignore him. So I can understand also saying that when you're not the recipient of his vitriol. So.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with you. I see both sides because I'm not a confrontational person really, and I don't want to have to do that. And so I do see it, but it's like, if it's continuous and it keeps happening, it's like, dude, no. But I do understand. And like, okay, fine. He can freak out like a baby. Okay, cool. Like,
right.
And what she was saying, she was like, why is everyone so scared? Like, who cares? It's like, yeah, at this point, they're near the end. It's like, no, like, you cannot treat people this way.
I think also what just popped into my head is that I think that everybody knows maybe how fragile his ego is. And if they all actually ganged up on him and was like, hey, like, you're not doing this well, like, I could see him walking off the show, being like, get me out of here. Like, I can see him having a bit of a tantrum. And so I think that they also deep down know that he wants to be on that experience. And I think that they don't want to end it for him in that way too. So I think that there's a bit of compassion also with not bringing it up in the way that it would need to be brought up to be nipped in the bud, because of his ego. And they can see that he's definitely really wounded on a subconscious level anyways.
Yeah, 100% agree with you.
I feel bad for him. For anybody to act like this, like, he must not be happy.
I know.
Can't be. Like, you can't be happy when you see, like, Allison has done absolutely nothing but try to be really nice to him. It's sad. I feel bad for her. So they're doing this demolition derby thing. Mark got to take a car around the track, and then he ended up getting to compete with some people, and then he won. I didn't understand really what was going on there. They had to hear why the driver had to wear the paper bag over their head.
I think it was like, that was like after the game. This was like a jokey thing that anyone can do. And you take these broken up trucks, you paint them and make them look hilarious. And then the driver is not allowed to see, and the person beside you has to direct you.
Okay.
But you have to drive. And that's why Shelly and Allison got in such a fight, because Shelly was like, tell me what's going on. And Allison was just like, no, and was like steering for her. And like, that's what fucked them up, because they were going to win. So I think it was just like a joking, like, fun game for like anyone. Like, there's no way they would allow like that, you know? I thought it was dangerous looking though. Holy fuck. Like, you're crashing into these cars. Like, what? Like, I don't know. I thought
that Mark's trip around the racetrack was more dangerous though than the monster truck, because you can't get that much speed with the monster truck. Like, you'd just be impact in an interesting position, could be potentially harmful. But with that, like, he's not a professional racetrack driver. Like, obviously he's not going to want to crash, but like, I actually heard a story, a woman that I flight attendant with, she also works at a real estate agency, and they have like these big conferences in Las Vegas. And so one of the agents he won getting to go drag race or whatever it's called, like take a spin of like a super fast fancy car around the track. And he actually crashed and he died. And like this was somebody that like, you know, he's going with like his work and like he won this whole thing and like he has a family and like he actually lost his life by doing a prize that he won where he's taking a super fast car around the track. So when I was watching that, I'm like, wow, like I just don't think that insurance would cover them doing that nowadays.
But and I think that's why they were like, Mark, you get to do this because you're the only person that we think can actually do this. Because as we can see of all the other things he's done in the show, he actually, you know, can do shit and isn't afraid and is, you know, whatever. So I don't think they were going to let anyone else do it. But like, yeah, I also was like, this is sketch. And it wouldn't happen now. But like, hilarious.
So Los didn't participate at all, but he was really excited though after, like, it was like he looked like the younger brother to Mark after Mark did his tour around and he didn't realize that he won when he did his lap around the whatever. I don't even know what it's called. And like after, like Los is just like so excited, like jumping up and kind of hugging him and like was so pumped to see like what Mark did. And Mark's all just like take his hair out of his helmet. Like so cool, like yeah, like race car driver. It's like, he's so cute, Mark. Really oh, but I'm really excited for him. I like seeing Kit excited for him. Like that's what I love about this show. I say it every week, but it's just the camaraderie and like how they get to have all these experiences together is so cool. Because like
it's so cool.
It's about creating experiences and moments, right? And they got so many moments together. So I love it.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I would have loved to been a part of something like that.
I was so jealous. And I told you already that I did send an audition for, I don't know what season it was, but for Road Rules. And like how I did it was I had like a lunchbox type thing, but it had like, it was like all different postcards that like I had like all over it. And like I had like all these different like paraphernalia inside. So it was like letters and just things that you'd get like trinkets and doodads, but that it had to do with me. And so like that's how like when they're trying to figure out like who I am, it would be taking all these little mementos out about me and like, or be a card about me and like, you know what I mean? So like that was what I did was like I made like a little box of like just stuff about me. That was like a memento of like traveling or whatever. And so that's what I did. I never got a call. But I thought it was really good. I thought it was really not audition, but like I probably sent a tape in there. There's probably a tape in there as well. Like a VHS, you know?
I'm obsessed with that.
Wow. It was a really good idea. I was like, how could you not have me on this show after like
probably because we're Canadian.
Right, yeah, probably. It isn't probably. But like, I definitely thought I wonder if like anybody ever talked about it. You know what I mean? Being like, oh, that was a really good one. Like I never heard about it. But if I ever get on any reality show and I'm in that bubble, I'm going to go and see if I can find my archived audition.
Oh my God, I would die.
It's so funny. What happened next? Okay, so oh yeah, with the Demolition, though, it's a $200 prize. So that's one of the reasons why they were going to go do it, because it was an opportunity for them to make some moolah. So none of the cars were working, though. I thought it was funny, though, that they drove the hearse. Would you have driven the hearse? I know you don't drive, but would you have picked that car?
Is that the one with the flames on it?
The hearse is you know what a hearse is?
That's the one that Mark was in.
No, the hearse is the one that Shelley and Allison end up having.
Oh, yeah, the one with the flames.
Oh, I couldn't remember it having flames.
Oh, it was like black with like different flames on it. Yes, I would have picked that. It was huge. Why wouldn't you pick the hugest one? Definitely.
Because it usually, like, you know, travels a dead body.
Oh. I guess so. Honestly, girl, I don't know anything about names of cars at all. Like, not even the
a hearse, though, is like that type of car. That's not a station wagon. That's like actually shaped like that, and so that you can have the coffin in the back, and so it carries dead bodies to the burial site, you know, in the procession, procession. Anyways, when like all like the police officers are falling or whatever, and you're going to the burial ground, and so that is a hearse. That's the type of car it is.
Okay, good to know. I did not know that.
So, okay, that's why Shelley was saying like, oh, I don't know if I feel good about this. Like, is it? Oh no, it was Allison. Sorry, is this ominous? And so that's why she didn't want to be necessarily in the hearse. Like, does that mean that we're going to maybe pass away? Like, like I don't know if we're going to tempt fate like that. Anyways, so they get through it. Obviously, they celebrate Mark. Mark I thought he was really cute with how thought he was really cool, taking those corners and talking about his experience because he's like a legend. And that's pretty much the end of this episode. Oh, and then and it just talks a little more about Allison and Shelley kind of getting in an argument there over the steering wheel thing. I mean, I understand Shelley's part, but like Allison can see, so like if you're just go this way. But then I can also feel like it doesn't feel good when you are supposed to be in control and then somebody else takes over. So yeah, it was a moment. Poor girls, but they got over.
They would have won if Allison hadn't steered them directly into Mark and whatever who were already stopped. Like, that's what got them to lose. So, like, they were so close to winning.
Allison. So, yeah, so this is next episode is when Lois actually gets worse and worse. That's when the suck my dick comment comes out. That's when Allison's really most upset about them not supporting her, and she's crying. And, like, that's another thing, too, that I don't understand how Lois can be okay with somebody crying over the way that he's treating them. You know what I mean? Like, why doesn't he feel something?
I don't understand that. I just think maybe crying was a manipulation tactic that someone in his life used a lot or something. And so he like sees through it. He like doesn't see it as real. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's like, oh, she's just trying to get sympathy. Mm-hmm. Like someone else he knows or something. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's that, or maybe, I don't know.
That's like another thing too that bothers me about how he reacts to things. Like I can have compassion for him, you know, maybe having low self-esteem, or his ego is like his big ego because he's experienced some bullying or whatever he's experienced. But like the fact that he doesn't have any compassion for other people, especially people that he's been living with for these last few days, who would actually do anything for him. You know what I mean? They would do anything for him, and he doesn't even care about that. And so
I know.
That's really upsetting to me as well, because like these people, like this is their experience that you're sharing. Like this is life-changing. And you want them to have a negative picture of you, even though they would do anything for you. It's just so, I don't know. It's just distasteful. I really need to find out what he thinks about his season after. I wonder, and I also wonder if he ever did, I don't remember if he did any other, the challenges coming in.
I highly doubt it, but maybe.
Like the challenge season 1, like maybe. Like if Mark was in the running there, like maybe he was.
True.
True. So Kit does go and talks to Los a little bit, and he's like, brr. You know, when Kit's trying to be like, hey, like maybe you just want to be nice to Allison. So they all try, and it doesn't really happen, which really sucks. So how did they get over it? I don't remember what happened that made them shift and like not care anymore.
Essentially, they all Mark told and Kit, they like said something to him about it, and then they went and told Allison, like, we did try. So I think that maybe that made her feel a bit better that like they were trying to support her a little bit more. And then they were like, I think, and they just told her like, I remember Kit saying like, just keep your distance from him. Just like try not to like really whatever. So she's just like trying not to really interact with him that much for the rest of the trip.
Which sucks. Mm-hmm. Sucks. I think that they actually get along if he decides to just not be an asshole, you know?
Exactly.
So I didn't see them get a clue, or like, were they just exploring, or is it just maybe a bad edit? Because then they get to Corn Palace, and then they get a clue at Corn Palace. Or like, I don't know, they didn't get one at the Demolition, or did they? And I didn't see it. Like, I felt that these last few episodes, the clue hasn't been as obvious.
No. They did. So it was, you know how they kept talking on the microphone at the Derby? Then there was a voice over the Derby.
Oh,
and it said like head to that place.
Okay.
And, like what does that mean? Then they head to there, and then they're like, this is the most boring place ever. And then they find that clue at that part.
Right. Is that where they found the clue inside the brochure? Yes. I think it is. So yeah, they ended up like doing the tour of the Corn Palace or whatever. They thought it was boring. Okay, I did miss that moment, or maybe I didn't register. Like maybe I was like puttering around. I don't remember hearing that over the radio. But I also love how it's still a kind of a scavenger hunt, Road Rules. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, that makes it so much more fun.
So fun. They don't really know what they're doing next. Like we need to find a clue. Like there's got to be a clue somewhere. Like love it. So they have to reach new heights on the mountain of presidents. So I even knew that it was Mount Rushmore. Did you know it was Mount Rushmore?
Yes, I actually recognize that.
Have you been to Mount Rushmore? No.
Well, you know how they found the cassette in that thing, and there was like a mini Mount Rushmore thing there. Faces. It's with the faces, right?
Yeah. President's faces on the side of the mountain. I mean, it's funny, but it's pretty epic though. Like I like big monuments like that. That's gonna last like thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Like I think it's very, very cool.
It's pretty epic.
Even though it's like kind of tacky, but like it's epic at the same time.
Yeah.
So they get to Mount Rushmore in Wall, South Dakota. Kit uses her last $6 to buy a coon hat. That probably wouldn't fly nowadays with PETA, but I used to actually wear one of those. Like, they're cute. But
it is cute, but I thought that was so hilarious. She's like, I'm not gonna have any money, and she doesn't even care because Mark will just help her, and like she knows that like it'll just work itself out.
And also, I mean, I know that they're on a show and they have a camera crew, so it's the camera crew paid for the hotel. But this is where, on their way to Mount Rushmore, they get a tour of the hotel. Kit sneaks into a room and leaves the door open for them so they can come back and stay in a room for free. That is ballsy and very bold.
I thought it was bold and ballsy, and I was like, I love it, but also it's disgusting if you think about that. But I think for sure the hotel had to have known. There was cameras with them. Like, there's no way that they didn't know. Like, there's no way.
Just let them get away with it, and it's like, pay for it. It's MTV. Just let them have it. Blah, blah, blah. Get some publicity for your little motel. I think it's disgusting because they're cheating the system.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's disgusting for cheating the system. Whatever.
No, you said it's disgusting.
Oh, just that like it's dirty. So then, like, if other people come in, it's like they don't know that someone's been in there.
Oh, that's what you mean. That's gross. I was just like, I'm like, well, I mean, that sucks. But like,
oh my God, morally? Are you kidding? Of course I'd do that.
I asked. I was confused. So they seem to have done that. They got to get a shower and like they got to sleep in a bed. Did Carlos sleep with them or no? Did he stay in the?
It doesn't show, but it shows in the morning when they're about to leave. He is bouncing on the bed, so I think he did stay with them that night.
I guess when it doesn't cost any money, he's willing to do with the group or whatever.
Yeah.
They climb Mount Rushmore the next day, I guess. And then they're supposed to like roam and find the next clue. And that's when they found the clue that's in the brochure after.
Mm-hmm.
In that brochure, it says, it's in the Devil's Tower book, you'll reach even newer heights or something like that. And so they kind of realize they're going skydiving. Now, I know we already talked about the fact that you would never really go on a roller coaster ever again, but what about skydiving?
Never.
$1 million we use skydive.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a thought?
If it was guaranteed and it was in tandem, yes. But like, are you kidding me? Mark's almost died. Like, the the parachute didn't work, and the reserve one didn't work. Like, are you kidding me? Like, when that happened, I literally was like, this is my whole thing about this shit, is it takes one person. And that could be me. Why? It's a, you know, like one of my sisters, my older sister, has been skydiving, and she had a blast. She loves the thrill. But like, that's terrifying to me. Like, I have nightmares where I'm pushed out of a plane.
I mean, I definitely think it's scary, and I definitely have, like, I understand like that feeling. Like, what if I'm that one where this is the way that it's supposed to go? Like, it's not happening for you. And I was very surprised that from that episode with Mark and both of his parachutes not opening up, and that basically they had to wait till it was a certain altitude where just rely on the CO2 whatever tank or oxygen tank like ignites an actual parachute. I'm surprised that they still skydive on the challenge.
And especially what happened to Jordan.
I don't remember what happened to Jordan.
Remember
the final.
The final, when he falls and like his parachute doesn't work properly and he falls and then his leg gets fucked up and he still wins.
Yeah, he's pretty badass. Yeah. Like, the fact that they still do skydiving is, maybe it's because they have to sign that waiver saying that like if we die, it's not your problem. So maybe then they don't have to worry about insuring people for that. And so it is at their own risk. But I would think that they would stop doing the skydiving thing after that incident.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, they did have that backup and it worked and he was fine.
Mm-hmm.
But it was interesting how they talked about how afterwards it was like, it seemed to dawn on Mark as time progressed how close it was. Because he thought, oh, the reserve went off. Because I felt him pulling and it wasn't working. And the guy's like, no, the reserve didn't even work. We had to wait till the CO2 levels were a certain level so that the automatic one went. It's like, to hear that, I don't know, man. That would freak me the fuck out.
Yeah, I mean, he probably was a little shook after that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably played it off like that he wasn't, but he was probably like deservingly shook. I would have been shook for that for sure.
Yeah.
Most really enjoyed it though. It was something he's always wanted to do. Or he was in a good mood anyways when they got this clue before they go skydiving. He was really excited. I guess also a really good experience or interesting experience. It's expensive too, so having someone pay for it, like get all the lessons. Now, did you find it kind of the first thing that I thought when the guy that met them, he's like, yeah, so just come with me to my basement and I'll give you guys all the training.
I laughed so hard. I laughed so hard.
Want to go?
And he was so awkward too.
I was like, not with you. You coming? Like, anyway, so I guess he has a school and he runs it out of his basement. But aren't there more places that they could have gone skydiving that would have felt a little bit more legit?
Yeah, but maybe those ones wouldn't allow camera crew.
Fair. Oh, just in case something happens, actually.
Maybe they're like, no.
Well, if something happens, though, they would have the footage of it, and that could be bad for their... Anyways, I don't know. I mean, I'm just speculating. I have no idea why they wouldn't have chosen something a little bit more glitzy.
Mm-hmm.
More glitzy. So Shelly didn't want to do it, but she actually ends up skydiving, which is what we were talking about at the beginning, where, you know, she's scared of things, but she always overcomes. And like when she's just wanted to touch the ground, which I can understand that feeling too. And it's like, I'm so happy that I've done it, but I'll never do it again. Unless it's for $1 million.
That's the thing. That's how I would feel. And it would have to be guaranteed. Like it couldn't be like skydive and do this thing and you have a chance at winning $1 million. No. Guarantee me that money, I'll do it.
What about 50 grand? Guaranteed.
That's tough. I think I need 100 grand.
How 50 grand?
50 grand just barely doesn't even pay my whole student debt. Like
50 grand and your debt's paid.
And my debt's paid. Yeah, that'd be like 100 grand. So yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Good to know. Not that I'm ever gonna have.
If you're ever in a position where it's like we will give someone $100,000 to jump out of a plane, you'll be like, I know just the queen to do it. She's in a pinch, she needs money, and she hates this, so it'll be really hilarious footage.
Well, has there been a show before where it's like how much would it take, or like, you know, how much money do I need to offer you to do whatever stunt? Like, I'll give you $50 to eat this cockroach.
You're asking me if I would do those things?
I'm just asking right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I would. I'd eat most things.
Okay, good. We could do that because I don't think I could eat the cockroach. I'll do the skydiving if we're a team, but you eat the cockroach.
I would always do eating gross things and drinking gross things over heights or water shit. 100%.
Okay, good to know. I mean, I don't love water, but like I know how to swim, so you know, it's okay. But I don't like open water that much.
Me neither. And I'm a medium low swimmer, I would say.
I say medium low because I haven't had to swim other than up to a swim up bar in sport. Like I haven't had to be like like, you know, like I just have
it's like a swim up bar. That's your fucking example. I'm obsessed with that.
Let's get me my margarita. Little chairs, you know. Yeah, that could. I feel like it is a show, but like that's a decent show to make people see how much money it would take for people to overcome a fear.
Yeah.
If it isn't a show, it should be. That'd be fun to watch. Be like, okay, is she gonna do it? Is she gonna do it? Is she gonna do it? She'll do it for $100,000. Okay, sold her to the devil for $100,000. No, just kidding.
And then the whole like concept is like at the end, it's like, nope, you didn't get the money, but you faced your fears, and you're like,
well, you can only do that once.
Yeah.
The gimmick's done.
It'd be like For Love or Money, the first season, where it's like, you know, they didn't know. It was only the best when they didn't know.
Oh, that was like, I mean, he was disgusting though. But like, I was impressed that she did that. Now she's married Dr. Will. I love that too. Speaking of Dr. Will, did you see that Boogie got arrested again for like drug possession?
No.
Yeah. Like Boogie's like, he's lost it. Ever since I told you the whole story about how he forged Dr. Will's signature when they were asking him to go on The Amazing Race All-Stars, and Dr. Will didn't want to do that because he has like a successful like medicine, like whatever practice, and he didn't want to do it. And Boogie was like, is so desperate to like, you know, do something with Will again in the spotlight. And so Will said no, and Boogie got mad and forged his signature. And then when he found out about that, Will's like, I'm not doing it. Like, that's crazy. Please don't do that. And then Boogie started threatening his family. And so there was like I think it was a picture of his daughter and like a gun next to the picture saying something like, oh, maybe I need to go and see, like, we'll say Charlotte is the name. Charlotte, see Uncle Mikey again. And so we have to go drive by and see Charlotte again, something like that. And so Dr. Will had a restraining order against him. And
when did this all happen?
This all happened. I mean, I heard about this within quarantine. So maybe June.
Oh, it's all really recent.
Yeah. And like within the last week is the most recent arrest for, I think it's drug possession or something about drugs.
So, but like, were Will and Boogie, still like super tight until June? Like until this point?
Not really. And basically, Boogie's being like, oh, well, Will just sold me out, blah, blah. And I guess because Will has a life outside of Big Brother, and Boogie's life is because of Big Brother. You know what I mean? So he's just desperate to hold on to like whatever he can. Remember, he had like his restaurants and they all went bankrupt or whatever. Like, he's just kind of a mess from what I've been seeing.
Woof.
Woof is right. So yeah, that's some tea there. And you saw Maddie. Poor Maddie. I do feel bad for her.
Yeah, I saw the Maddie thing.
I did put a post up being like, I'm a real person. Like, please stop messaging me. Please stop tagging me. Like, I'm going to pay for what I did wrong. Blah 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 blah. But
it's like everyone just becomes like a judge. Like everyone on the post is just like, yeah, it's 3 times. Like you'd think you'd learn by then, and it's like, okay, cool. Like, who are you? Like,
yeah, why do you have an opinion?
You know, like.
I mean, you can have an opinion, but why post about it? You know that
why post? That's the thing. I don't know.
She's already feeling bad about it. Like, you don't need to go and like beat her down even more. Like, it's never the way to help get through to somebody is by telling them how shitty something that they already know and they're beating themselves up over is anyways. Like, if somebody does something bad when they're drinking, they feel so awful about it no matter what. So she'll beat herself up enough. Just leave her alone.
Exactly.
I feel bad for her.
Me too.
Back to Road Rules. Where are we? What happened next? Another clue comes down in a parachute after they all jump. And they have to go. They're going to get they have to go make fire or something. What happened? They have to go to the adventure wilderness zone where they had to like sleep outside. That was after skydiving. It seems like it should have been before skydiving. I feel like they should have had that shitty kind of like night after they did something so epic. Like, it would have been more gratifying if they did like the stay in the wilderness for 2 days, learn how to make fire, learn how to eat beans out of a can, like all that stuff, and then go and do the skydiving. Because like I think that they'd be like, okay, that was our reward, instead of like, what was the reward? Finding their Winnebago. For like 2 days and they're starving and they hate each other. That was the first time where we saw Mark and Shelley kind of get into like a little bit of a thing, because Shelley didn't particularly appreciate Mark taking the lead and taking directions or making the directions, but he's just like, well, then don't follow me. Which I thought was
and true. Also, to be honest, like it was a classic case of hanger. Like, as someone who experiences this on the daily, it's like if it's the morning and I haven't eaten and I have to do something, like I'm going to be rude. And he hadn't eaten and he hadn't slept well and he was feeling like shit. So yeah, he's gonna react badly.
Absolutely. And it's kind of like, well, if you're gonna tell me I'm doing something wrong, then do it better yourself. Right?
Yeah.
I would have been pissed if I were Mark. It's like, I'm the only one that's taking any sort of initiative to try to get us out of this mess. If you aren't happy with what I'm doing, you go your own way. Like, simple. But I guess they're supposed 100%. To stay together or whatnot. But that was the only time, though, I saw Mark maybe lose a little bit of his easygoing, cool boy attitude was there. Mm-hmm. So they finally get to their Winnebago and they have a bottle of champagne on the bullhorn or the front of the Winnebago. And they're going to be going to a spa day together. They're going back to California at this point. I think they're in Napa Valley.
Yeah. So it's kind of like to end it off. They're like, here's some pampering finally.
Have you ever done one of those where you got to like be in like a mud bath and all that jazz?
I wish. It looked so nice. I've been to a spa-ish place once where I got like the cold and hot pools and stuff like that and a massage, but I've never gotten like the full shebang, you know?
One of my best friends, Karen, when we were living in Montreal, she still lived there. She's from there. For our birthday, so her birthday is January 19th and mine is the 25th. And so we used to do like if the weekend landed in between, like we do a joint birthday. And so for our birthday one year, we got both of our moms to pay for it, like a super fancy spa day. It was like probably $250 like for each of us, maybe even more. Like this was in 2010, or 9, like I think 10 years ago. And so it was like so good. We got the massage, the head massage, like the deep, like the different hot, cold, whatever stuff, like, and then like a scrub, like it was so pampered. Then we had lunch and champagne in the middle. And then we had like something else after the champagne. Like it was so glorious. So glorious. And like, I just love wearing robes. I've always been a robe lover, especially hotels and whatnot.
I love a robe moment. It's so luxurious.
Having lunch at the spa, drinking champagne with a robe. Oh, it's divine. Again, maybe that's what I'm doing for my birthday.
Yes.
Spa day with lunch. That's what I want. But this is where some of the flirting started happening a little bit ramped up with Mark and Kit. You know, he gets into her mud bath. And then, like, he really goes for it in a way that was really unattractive. He's like, nah, to poor Kit. And she took it. And she's like, oh, that wasn't even a good one. I'm like, it didn't look like it was going to be a good one. Okay. But then they started kind of kissing some more. And do you think that they did it when because they were walking down the hall with their towels on? He took off his towel. She took off her towel. And she's like, oh, I've never seen a boys' room before.
And he said before that, he said, come to my room. I'll show you something. He said, I'll come to my room. And she said, I've never seen a boys' room before. And yeah, I think they definitely banged. I think it was one of the last nights or last possible opportunities. They've had this flirtmance the whole time, and it's just like a nice ending. And I think that's just like they both are like, they know they're not going to be in a relationship. Obviously, he has a girlfriend and whatever, but like, I think it was just a nice, like, okay, we're going to do it all the way, and then it's going to be done. Whereas if they had been fucking like the whole time, then maybe that would have just
a fight, maybe, and like it would have been about them and being a couple. No, it works best this way for sure. That they just had a good time with each other and they didn't make themselves get into a relationship. Like they just could just have fun parts of hanging out, which I loved and enjoyed. So they have to go back to the place where it all began. So I think they're in Santa Barbara or something. And on their way, they stopped in San Francisco to get tattoos. So now I'm realizing, remember in the beginning, I was like, why are they putting up these random facts on episode 1? Especially the fact that Allison loves Kermit the Frog. Because Allison decides to brand her body with Kermit the Frog and a stethoscope, because she wants to be a doctor, remember, on her hip. How do you think she's going to feel about that tattoo down the road?
Bad. It's a green Kermit in this area. Like, I thought it was a terrible decision. If she was going to get Kermit, it should have been more stylized and maybe like an inner arm moment or like something that's a little more like cool. Yeah, I think she's definitely going to regret that for sure.
I don't remember what Shelley's looked like. Was it?
Shelley's was like a weird pattern thing that said her name.
Oh.
On her back, and it was like sort of like it was black and it was like different like triangle shapes and it was kind of like a swerve, and her name, it said Shelley in it. It was fine, I think. I mean, I only saw it for like a second.
I was hoping when they said that they're going to go get tattoos, it was going to be something that they both got that was the same, that really was about their trip. That's what I was kind of hoping.
That's what I would have done.
And hoping that they would all have done that, but that was not the case at all. That actually reminds me, though, I didn't end up doing it, but remember I told you that we did this cross-country tour when I was like 21, and we ended up in Vancouver, and the whole group of us were considering actually getting tattoos of like our experience. So it is a thing to bond you. We never ended up doing it because it was like going to be too long of wait, and like everybody had different times for their planes or whatever, and I think some people were staying, so like we ended up dispersing when we got to Vancouver, and me and my friend Jackie were like, well, we could still do it, but I was kind of like, well, if we're all not doing it, I don't know if I want a tattoo. You know what I mean? I don't have any. So
you don't have any?
Mm-mm.
Get one with me.
What do you mean? Do you have many?
I have 4.
4. Well, I kind of like, I've always liked them, but I kind of am at the point of no return. I feel like it's like I've made it this far without one. Maybe I just want to be like the anomaly and be like, I don't have any tattoos. I have virgin skin.
Yeah, I just think tattoos are fun. And I always thought I wouldn't do it because I hate needles, but I love it. And I crave getting tattoos. And I think they look so cool. Not always, like there's bad tattoos, of course, but all of mine are also really hidden. So I like that about it too. Except for the giraffe. The giraffe's pretty obvious, but the rest are like pretty hidden.
I also have never figured out something that I want to get for sure that I'm like, yes. And so I'm just kind of like, until I find that one thing that I want. Like, oh, do you know what I was actually going to do, which you would appreciate, is putting the 72 names of God in Hebrew up my inner arm. I was thinking about that once when I was studying Kabbalah, but that's the only time I've ever thought of putting anything on the body.
I do love text. I haven't had any text tattoos because similarly, I don't know what I would get that I'd want forever.
But that is just going to be like the symbols basically of the different names of God in Hebrew. So I thought it would be pretty, but that's the only thing I ever thought of maybe getting. Just here and then down here, 72 names. So if I ever get a tattoo, that's probably what it'll be. And like, obviously it'll be like inner arm sleeve. Like, yes. Right? We're almost at the end here. And so they get back to where they're started, and their whole family is there waiting for them, which I thought was really sweet. Shelley was kind of getting upset because her mom wasn't like answering, or like she couldn't find where her mom was. She wanted to tell her what was going on, and her mom wasn't answering. And it's probably because she was on a plane going to see her and surprise them all. And so it was a nice moment. There was a big box that they open up, and it had like balloons that went up. Now, they weren't as clear as I feel like they get in the future about the handsome reward, but was it really only a trip, 2 stops in Europe?
So it was, so it said you're going to Europe. So they each get 2 round trip tickets to a couple places in Europe. Yeah.
Blaine is in the house. Hey, Blaine. We've actually just finished Road Rules, and we're going to start talking about a little bit about season 36 right about now, basically. Well, yeah, so they didn't get any money, though. Usually the handsome reward is like some money and some whatever. Like, obviously that trip is really cool, but what I've been learning about these shows is that they don't pay for the taxes. So they have these super extravagant, fancy trips, and the taxes are like 10 grand that they have to fork up to be able to enjoy them. That was, I don't know about Road Rules, but that's what I was hearing about The Amazing Race with some people that won different legs. They would win like, oh, you're going to win a trip to Thailand. And, they think, oh my God, amazing. And then they have to pay for all the taxes. And they said that out of all the money that they won and paying all the taxes, they didn't even make any extra money, but they were able to enjoy the trip, basically.
Right. Okay.
Hopefully they paid the taxes for these ones, because like, I'd be happy, but like, that wouldn't have been my idea of a handsome reward, I would
same.
Cash.
Yeah, give me the money. But I mean, I like a trip too.
Pretty much the end of season 1 of Road Rules. Super happy that we went through it. And it's in perfect timing because, we have 2 weeks until the premiere of season 36 of the challenge. Just released this week that it's going to be on, I believe it was December 8th, 9th. December 9th is going to be the premiere episode. And so I was thinking that maybe if it works out, we just do it on Mondays. Do you think that's too far away from Wednesday to do our recap on Mondays? Because I think that Fanta can do it, and then we can go live at around this time if she can do this time.
No, I don't think it's too long. I think like people
look for content always.
And like
I think that people, once they get used to when we do it, they will just come back for it. Hopefully. So that's what I'm proposing. And I'm thinking that maybe next week we do a draft for maybe the men or the women. And then the following week, the men or the women, depending on what we didn't do.
I'm down.
Go through who these people are on this season. If any tea, we can probably bring up some old tea that we have. We'll look at the trailer. And we'll start collecting some season 36 goss. Yeah?
I'm super pumped. I can't wait for season 36. Like, I mean, there's not like, there's people I really like, there's people I dislike, but it's a good mix, I think. And yeah, I'm trying desperately hard not to read spoilers. The ones that I've read were like early on things. Oh, I've been studying for finals there next week.
Oh my God, get it done. And then you get into the challenge. We know you've been waiting.
Oh, casting special. Yeah. So they're doing a casting special first to talk about all the people so you can get to know them, which is amazing.
Perfect. Well, I mean, we'll all watch that, and we'll bring it into the premiere episode chat. I guess. So we're going to be doing it. We're going to continue on this time slot. This will be the challenge time slot. And we will be talking about season 36 at around 2 p.m. Eastern, unless things change. I'm so excited. So do you have any tea or gossip that you want to maybe just spoil me with right now before
I'm trying to think. So, I mean, there's been a lot of weird things, like Fessy and Josh are hanging out right now, and like they're friends, and like a lot, and like Tori was with Cam and someone else. Ashley Mitchell actually did a live recently, and she answered a bunch of questions, and she was so trolly about it. And she essentially says that like there's so many people that cry really early on that she's like, even me, she's like, I'm the one who cries at everything. And so like I'm trying not to judge, but like these people are crying, like they need to get it together. And then there's another part where she's like, we need some Amandas back. We need Shane's. Like we need the people, we need the shit disturbers. Like we need like these like people who, you know, like are the drama, you know?
They don't like to be dictated what to do, and like just are willing to take their game into their own hands, even if it's to a detriment to it.
Exactly. So that makes me think maybe people will be doing alliances. But what I think is interesting is the way they kind of describe it in the trailer is that you have your partner. We already knew through our spoilers that like partners can change based on the elimination. So like if I'm the guy and girl and like I win, but my guy doesn't win, then I get the other guy as my partner and all that. But what I'm seeing is like they keep talking about secrets, lies, you can be a double agent. So I think it's sort of like people are given opportunity maybe within the game to like put themselves up secretly for an elimination or do something if they're confident that they can beat that other person and like they hate their partner and want to get rid of their partner. So there's like a way to like turn things against your partner and try to steal someone from someone else. So I think I'm very into that idea.
Yes, absolutely. Blaine says, did you see the challenge are going to do a season 36 podcast with Tori and Anissa as hosts? I have not heard of that.
What an interesting combo.
I guess kind of old school, new school.
Yeah. And like, I mean, Anissa, I think will have good commentary. We saw from like last season. She's so hilarious. So she could be a good one. Tori's a good speaker, you know, and she's kind of like a different viewpoint, I suppose. I feel like a lot of people are hating on Tori in terms of fans these days. Like people are saying she's fake. People have been saying this and that about her.
Well, and the speculation that she cheats on Jordan and that they broke up and all that stuff. So
yeah. So TBD on that. I mean, I've read some spoilers, which I won't share because I don't want to ruin, about like an elimination that she is in against someone. And so, I mean, I'm curious. I don't hate Tori. Like, I do like her. I don't know. There's some weirdness sometimes. She's not my favorite.
I always felt like I love anybody that comes up as a rookie and like performs and like gets really good. Like, I'm cool with her story arc in that way. But I was never that big of a fan of her as a character from who she was on Are You the One? Because I felt that she was always dating the questionable men. Like, remember she dated the one guy, Mike, that was on the Real World that got kicked out for, I think he said the N-word maybe? I can't remember, but she was dating him, and like all the people that she was dating, I was like, why are you like, you're so pretty. Like, why are you dating that person? Like, so I always was questioning her tastes in men within the reality television world. And then she got with Jordan, and then they became this like power duo. I don't know. So they're just been, for me, I've always just been questioning her choices. And I'm curious if the cheating thing is true, if it's for relevancy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm really curious to know whether she cheats or not. I mean, I think they're in sort of an open-ish thing anyway. I still don't think that'd be cool necessarily, but like, I think whatever happens, even if she does cheat, then I'm sure Jordan would already know, and they've like are working through whatever. Maybe they took some time apart. Like, who knows? But I think they have pretty good communication between each other. At least it seems that way. Mm-hmm. I would say my favorite moment, just to like sidetrack, my favorite moment from the trailer is when Nani's clutching to Jay and she's like, don't drop, don't let go. And he's like, let go. And she's like, don't stop. And he lets her go and she just screams. And this is, I just love Nani. She's so relatable. She's like the every girl. She's the one who's just like not super athletic, but not athletic, and has some natural ability, and like wants to do well and has been there for a while, but like hasn't really had her chance to like fully shine to the top. And she's scared of shit still. And I don't know. I like having those players in the game. I know she's not the strongest challenger. I know. And I know it'll be a miracle if she ever actually wins. I know. But I still root for her, and I still like ride for her.
Yeah, I wanted to see how well she does. Like, I enjoy her being any side of Nani I'm enjoying, whether it's like, oh, maybe you shouldn't do that, Nani, or oh, maybe you're too drunk, Nani, or oh, you shouldn't have said that, Nani, or oh, like, why are you making out with him? Nani? Like, I don't mind what she does. She would be a friend that would be like, oh, girl, like, I can get along with her, and I don't take her that seriously that I dislike her. You know what I mean? Like, I just like her antics. I like what she brings, regardless of if it's considered to be good, bad, kind, whatever. Like, I like her enough to it's an oversight, or like it's I don't see it. I don't know what word I want. Blaine says the Mike Lewis podcast is dropping an episode at 6 today where he interviewed Joseph from the last season. Who's Joseph?
He must be new. He said from the latest season, so that's
I said last. Joseph.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm excited for that that episode on the 7th, but I think we're going to be doing our draft picks before we watch that. Mm-hmm. But I'm excited to like get to know these people and like see where the chips fall. I can already tell you who my picks I want to be, but the truth is that we're doing, I'm not going to get everyone I want. So yeah.
I'm excited to do the draft because I feel like we might be fighting over people or like making cases for like why we want this person or why this person sucks, or it'll be fun. I'm excited. Well, do you have anything? Okay, so the Mike Lewis podcast, so I think that's a podcast that I was sending you where he was doing he had the interview with, what's her name? From the Duel. Jody. Remember? And I think
right, yeah.
He has a lot of interviews of previous contestants that are like kind of in the background. And so maybe I'm going to check them out for sure. Who's Joseph though? Let's see. Oh,
the one who's from American Got Talent. Yeah.
I don't know who that is. Thank you, Blaine. Do not know who that is at all.
But hey, maybe he'll end up being a big player in the game. We don't know. That's what's exciting.
Why are they going into the America's Got Talent pool? You know what I mean? Like, maybe he's great, but like, I just don't know why they need to go and dip into that one.
I don't even know. I do not understand, but I don't care.
A lot of people clamoring to be on the challenge.
Everyone loves it. Oh, that's the other piece of news we should leave with is that it's coming to Netflix on my birthday, December 15th, season 10, which is Inferno 2, and season 13, which is The Duel, are both going to be on Netflix. I'm freaking out about this, and apparently, rumor has it, more seasons are coming. This is just the test to see how it goes. So if they get a lot of views, then yeah. So I think it's hilarious that it's The Duel, which we just did, and Inferno 2, which I'm definitely going to watch as soon as it comes on Netflix.
Absolutely.
And hopefully they'll bring more seasons on there. I think they're trying to like expand the audience, and I'm so pumped about it. So that's the biggest thing.
Sure, like without having to, like, most people have Netflix, so they can just binge it without like, oh, I need to have like CBS All Access or whatnot. Like, no, like they'll fucking go through The Duel in like 4 hours. Like, it's perfect. Nice.
I'm very pumped. I'm very pumped to tell people about it. I'm like, just watch this. Like,
watch season 10 and watch season 13 and then talk to me.
Yeah.
Love it. Thanks for that tea. Yes. Wait. That eye roll though. I mean, I can't hide them. But like, who cares about like America's Got Talent? But anyways, that was all for you, Blaine. Do you have any last minute tea you want to share? Like, that was a nice little drop.
No, that's it for now. I'm pumped for next week. Like, let's get this draft rolling. Let's have some chats. And I'm gonna force myself to not read anything else that's going on, so I have no idea, and I can just genuinely go through it. I might have to unfollow some pages just to be safe. And yeah, I just want to go on the journey wherever it ends up.
Sweet, me too. I'm really excited to. I thought it was going to be in the new year, so the fact that it's not, I'm happy to get this started. And it's kind of worked out perfectly with like what we were doing. Like we could have maybe stretched this on for one more week,
Yeah.
and then just do like 1 week for the drop. But I think that there's so many players that it might be best just to break it into 2. So we will only talk for like around this amount of time, like an hour and a half or so, about the season or the men and the women. So
yeah,
I think it works out perfectly this way. All right. Well, do you have anything you're working on you want to share with the people? The 3 people?
No, honestly, no. I'm just trying to get through. I'm just trying to get through this time, you know? It is, I can't believe 2020 is almost over. And this, you know, chatting with you is one of the fun things about the week. So yeah, that's
Man, we got through. Actually, did we? I don't think we really we may have missed 1 or 2 weeks, but we kind of did something like the entire. I know we switched days, like we're doing Fridays before, then we switched to Mondays, whatever. But like, I think once a week for the most part, we did all through the pandemic. That's pretty awesome.
That's pretty great.
We achieved something.
We did a lot. Like, yes.
Well, thank you, though. Obviously, I love chatting with you. I can chat about anything reality television and real life with you. You're one of my faves, obvsies. Hopefully, you guys are our faves and you want to like this video because you like what we're chatting about. Because I know we're talking about road rules, but we kind of get into some fun stuff as well. Please ring the bell so every time we go live, you'll be notified. And subscribe right down over there because we want people to hang out with us in the chat room and go on these journeys with us. So if you're looking for us, Mondays, we should be back here between 2 and 4 Eastern time. We'll be talking about the challenge season 36. And for the next 2 weeks, we're going to do our draft picks with Fanta. Blaine, a way to keep me entertained through quarantine. Yay! Yay! You've definitely been helping us out, always bringing us tea, giving us links, things to look out for. So we definitely appreciate you too, Blaine. Well, that's the end of season 1 where it all began. And then we're going to go right back to reality to where we are now. Season 36 is happening next. Excited.
Very pumped. Very pumped.
Bye.